Okay, so we have a potentially massive move coming. Like, there's a big move coming, and I know that sounds cliche. Everybody's like, "Yeah, there's a big move coming. Blah blah blah. It's either up or down." Yeah, I know. No, I mean like a really big move. I'm talking like we could go to 100K and then potentially to 110, 120 pretty quickly, or we could go to like 85, 81K. It's not like a huge like you're not going back to 40K is my point, and you're also not going to 200K like immediately, right? We got a leg up, we got a leg down. There are some resistances that we're running into right now, as you could probably see from my last video and as you can see on the chart that's, on the screen right now. But if we hold that resistance and we flip it to support, it's pretty good news for Bitcoin, okay? And so if we don't, it's a little bit of bad news for Bitcoin. So I'm not going to get too far into it. I just want to show you just like a brief overview of where we could be going either way, right? So that you're prepared for both sides. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get into the TA of it right now because there's no time to waste, man. We're getting ready to close this candle in like 10 minutes, like 8 minutes. So let's get this candle closed and see, where it goes. So we have set new all-time highs at about 94,850. Okay, that's like right where we're at. And we're trying to retest all-time highs right now. Now, if you remember from my video that I dropped last night, this is that major trend channel that dates back to like literally 2017. And if you don't believe me, just for the people that maybe didn't watch that video, rather than making you go back and watch that video, we'll just zoom it out for you so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But this thing literally dates back to the bull run of 2017, dates back to the bull run of 2021. That's where we kind of established this channel. But as you can see, even before that, this channel was absolutely like supported and it was followed. Okay. So we kind of pumped up into the middle of it. We dropped below it. We used the bottom as support. We came and dropped again. Boom. We skyrocketed, went to the top, went to the bottom, went to the middle, back tested, came back up, back tested, fell back through. Boom. We used it as resistance here again. Bam, right through. Came up to the halfway point. Boom. Right. Retested right back off. Almost like a triple bottom right here. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Up. Right. So that kind of gets us to where we are right now. Okay. Now, there's a couple of things that I want to show you that happened that kind of got us there. Okay. And it's these bull flags. Okay. So if you look at the bull flag from February, this bull flag right here, and I'll zoom in on it just so that everybody can see. This bull flag right here was kind of like when we started to turn everything around and we were coming up on a massive resistance and we broke above it, but we never confirmed. Okay. So then we kind of started trending downwards. And this is what a bull flag should look like downward sloping, or at the very least, like angled horizontally, right? Then we broke through it, and this was the measurement. If you take this measurement and you move it up here, it goes up here. But guess what happened right after that? Another bull flag formed. Boom. So what was the measurement on that one? Right here, right? Which is right where we went. Okay. Then what happened? We formed another massive bull flag. Once we broke this trend line, right? This absolute banger of a resistance to get back into this channel. Then we went all the way up to the middle of the channel, and guess what we did? We made a bull flag that lasted for like, dude, forever. Like, look how long this thing lasted for. It lasted all the way from March all the way up until November. I mean, this was a massive bull flag. But if you take the measurement of it at the breakout point, you'll see it's literally right where we're at. Okay, that's the measurement of it. And a lot of people are probably like, when did this break out, right? So this broke out right here. Okay, it never back tested it. That's another thing, like, that's in and of itself is kind of scary because if you look at all these other bull flags, they kind of got back tested, right? Um, like almost immediately. They came down like this one, it got back tested a bunch of times, right? It boom. And then look at this. It tested the lower level support line, bam, right here, which was the top of this previous bull flag. Okay. So it never actually got the like it's never been retested, which is this 73K level. So we haven't ever pulled back to it. And then you've got the midpoint right here. You've got the 50 moving average all the way down here at like 72K, right? Which is consequently right at this top of where this bull flag would be right now if we were still in it. So here's my point. Then this happened, right? We had kind of like a micro bull flag right here. If you look, this is kind of like a micro bull flag. If you look on the daily chart, or not the daily chart, but the hourly chart, you'll see that this is like a little micro bull flag that kind of puts us right where we are. Okay. And this is like, you can't make this stuff up, man. This is the micro bull flag right here. And you can see it if you measure it from the bottom to the top and then you measure it where the breakout point is. Boom. It puts us right where we hit. okay, which is like 94.7, 94.8, okay? So why am I measuring it from here? Because this was never confirmed, okay? We came up, in order for you to confirm a breakout, you have to get the breakout candle, then you have to get a close above the close of the breakout candle. That never happened here, okay? We had an immediate red candle and then just trended downward, went back into the channel, broke out again, right? And a lot of people were thinking that this is the breakout, and this is what institutions do, just to shake you out. Then you never got the confirmation here. You came back into the channel. You broke out again. No confirmation yet again. You came back down here, kissed the channel, right? Okay. Then right here is where you actually confirmed on this candle right here, where it closed above the breakout candle. Okay. That's great, right? So this is where we measure from, right? Right here. And if you measure it from right there, it literally takes you to almost like the high of where we were at. So that gets us up to present, okay? And I kind of want to not talk too much about the bull flags, but that kind of shows you like this bull flag and this bull flag puts you right where we are. So there's like three resistances right here. There's this resistance, there's the bull flag, there's the micro bull flag. This is a macro bull flag that's like 8 months old. This is a trend line and a channel that's held up for, we'll call it 2021 at the worst, right? And 2017 at the best, okay? So we're trying to hold this, okay? And if you know anything about these trend lines, in order for us to break this trend line, first off, we have to close above it on the daily, right? And if we look on the daily, we are above it, all right? Which is, good news for Bitcoin. I'm going to take all the rest of this stuff off so that you can see everything. We are above it. But unfortunately, this closing above it, again, just like the bull flags, is not a confirmation signal, okay? You have to close above the close of the breakout candle. And if you come back under it, it resets. And then you have to break it again and then close on a subsequent candle afterwards above the breakout candle. Now, we're not quite there yet, but if you look at the hourly, we could break this on the hourly here in literally a minute and a half, right? But that doesn't mean that we're not going to fall right back into the range, okay? And what do I mean by that? If you look at this kind of rising channel, that's another issue in and of itself. And guess where it's intersecting, unfortunately? Right here, okay? Which is right where we're at. All right. It intersects this green line. You can kind of see it now. Could we fall back below it and kind of trade in this channel until we eventually break it? Yes, but could we also break to the downside because this is a major, major resistance level with a lot of other resistances coming? Yeah. But the upside targets on this are like substantial, right? The upside targets on this is, first off, you got the 100K level, right? Second off, you've got the $109,000 level up here, and then it's all the way up to 120 and 130. And then after that, if you pull the fib, which this is why I want to talk about this, right? Because this rising channel, just really quick before we get into the bullish sentiment, this rising channel, usually they break down, okay? They usually don't break up, is my point. So, like, although we're going to close in 24 seconds above this green line and potentially above this channel, most likely what will happen is we'll come back down. We need a retest, okay? We need a retest to confirm that that is now support, okay? So we're going to probably see this come back down and try to retest this, and it might lose it. If it loses it, then we're going to be right back in this channel. We'll probably, we could be going down here to, 90, 91.5, something like that, and we'll see how it all plays out. But as you can see, the downside target on this is literally probably about $78,000. I don't think it'll probably get there. I think it'll come somewhere around this range, maybe 85 to $81,000 at worst, okay? And that's because we've got some pivots that we're going to run into on the way down. I'm going to show you the pivots here in a second. Now, here's the good news, right? If we stay above this, dude, this could be nuts, okay? Because I want to show you the fib extension, okay? This dates back to the bull run of 2016 and then also gives us from the bull run of 2017, the low of that to the high of that bull run for 2021 and then the low subsequently after, right? So that's going to give us like $130,000 almost price target. We're talking 120K. Then we've got 180 after that, which is crazy to think, but we've got 180. And then the next level is literally like $250,000. That's the 3.618. This is the 2.618, and this is the 1.618 extension. Now, do we need a cooling off period before we get there? Yeah, potentially, but markets go parabolic all the time, at least in the cryptocurrency markets. So my bias is that if we can stay above this green line, back test it as support and leg up, this is where you would be flipping long. Even if you were thinking about shorting at the all-time highs here, shorting at this resistance, because there's all of those factors, the divergence, the bearish divergence on the 1 hour, the 4 hour, the 1 day, the 1 week, and the monthly all have bearish divergences. But again, the 4 hour, the 1 day, the 1 week, the monthly, those bearish divergences can take forever to play out. And I mean, worst case scenario on this, if we do go down, I mean, you're talking $77,000. And my bias, it's going to be more around like $85,000 or something like that. So let's show you what the, I guess, like supports are on the way down, because if we do fall below this, you need to know where we could potentially go. All right, so there is a little range here, if you see, and we'll zoom in and you can kind of see that range right here. Okay, so here's like the upward channel that we potentially broke out of. This is like a micro channel, right? Dating back to like 17th of November. This is like 3-4 days old. All right. So we broke out of that. If we come back into it, we're looking at support at like 91.3. Okay, don't worry about that. So here's the other kind of like micro channels that we're seeing. All right, these are the micro channels. I'm going to turn one of them off. Here's the first one that you're going to want to see. As you can see, we're like trying really hard to break out of that channel right now, but we're kind of coming back to test it as support. So if we can get out of this channel, but again, remember, like upward trending channels don't necessarily usually like break out upside. They usually tend to ride the channel up, right? So they'll bing bong, bing bong. As you can see, it's done that a bunch of times. Boom, 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 right? So we could see a test down here to like 92.4, something like that. So that's one channel, right? So let's turn that one off. I'll show you the next one. Okay, so this is like the rising wedge pattern that it looks like it kind of broke out of, right? And so we're going to come back and hopefully back test that, use that as support. And if we do, it's upwards from here. Now, if we lose these levels right up here, which is about the 94.4 level, right? And we come back below it, because again, this is all on the hourly chart. Like we won't even know if this is confirmed until the close of the daily candle tomorrow, right? At least on the daily chart, right? You can look at the hourly, you can look at the 4 hour, but I'm talking about like long-term macro trend. This is micro stuff right here. Okay. So here's my point. Here are like the support levels that you're going to see. Okay. This is your first target. This is like the swing high, the previous swing high, right? And I'm not taking this one too much into account because it's so close to this support level that you probably lose it immediately, right? Maybe you hit right here at 93,000. But other than that, just back testing here, you've got 92.5. You've got the previous swing low, right? Higher low, because you got a higher high here. And I'm going to just work through this and show you exactly like the methodology behind it. So you came up, you set a new high here, then you set a low. Okay, this is your pivot low or your swing low. Set a new high here, barely. Here's your new pivot low. You set a new high here. Here's your new pivot low. You set a new high here. Okay, this is the pivot low from that, but you might not even take this one into account. I do think that it's valid though, because you're seeing it like as a breakout point right here. Okay, so we'll leave it there. This one is not as, I guess, important. 87.5, 87.8. This one's pretty important because that's when we set a new, like we broke the trend here of lower highs and lower lows, right? Because as you saw, you see this little downward trending channel right here, lower highs, lower lows, and then we broke that. Okay, so this is your swing low on that, a new high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low, a higher high. And you could probably see this being kind of like the catch point of this low if we do indeed drop below this yet again, right? Which, see what I'm saying? Like, we're coming back to retest this line already. So that's kind of where you're at, like if you're looking for longs. But wait for confirmations, man. Like, this isn't like, especially if you're trying to do this, I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Like, if this is what you're trying to do right here, if you're trying to ride this bad boy, like up to these levels, you're talking 120, 185, 250. Like, just be patient here. You don't have to be in it, because what's the difference in between getting, your Bitcoin for, say, I don't know, $88,000 and $95,000 whenever it's going to 250, if you're going to hold all the way there, right? So that's kind of my point. Just like watch for this and watch for these levels, because these levels are definitely going to be like they could take you down, is what I'm saying. So like where do I see it going? Okay, you know the upward levels are like call it the psychological level 100K. You've got your $110,000 target from one of our from our cup and handle pattern. Actually, let's cover that really quick because I didn't touch on that. But the cup and handle is right here. And we're just going to go to the daily chart so I can show you this like way easier. But there's a cup and handle, okay? That's really what it comes down to. All right. This is the cup and handle, right? As you can see, if you measure the top of the cup down to the bottom of the cup, and then you just copy and paste it from the breakout point, we're getting a target of around $128,000, $130,000. That coincides with one of those first levels on the Fibonacci. Okay. So let's just keep it cool. All right. Because this was something I said in my last video as well that I posted yesterday, but you can literally fall all the way down here and still, we haven't even retested the handle on this yet. Okay. A lot of people thought this was the breakout. Nope. It went right back into it. This was the breakout. And then this was the candle that it broke out on. Okay. So that's when you start measuring. So that gives us a $130,000 price target. Now, here's the problem. We have not retested this as support yet. That's around $70,000. Now, do we ever retest it? I don't know. That could be just like a breakaway. You know what I'm saying? Like 75K. Yeah, maybe we could retest this. 81.80. Yeah, maybe we could retest that. I mean, I think we could definitely retest 85, especially with that upward trending channel. But here's my point. If you say Bitcoin's going down, people like want to come at you with pitchforks and torches and burn your house down, kill you, right? That's not the point of this video. The point of this video is that even if we went down to $70,000, we're still in an uptrend. Even if we went down to this level right here, right, which I think is the midpoint of this kind of like upward trending channel, even if we went down to here, 75K, guess what? We're still in this upward trending channel, man. Like that's what people don't realize. That's still an uptrend, okay? So can you still come down here, let all the RSI kind of like ease off, the stochastics ease off, take care of those bearish divergences, and then just leg up like to 100K almost immediately? Yeah, you really could. So you're looking at 75K that coincides with this level right here, right? This previous all-time high that also has, support all the way back here, right? Literally, like can't make this stuff up. You could literally come all the way down here to $70,000 and still be at the top of that handle, and then boom, blast off to the 130 range. Usually you come back and you retest these, okay? We haven't come close. We haven't come close to retesting that bull flag breakout either. So, I mean, that's just something to keep in mind for entry points. And again, kind of where the line in the sand is right here for your target, right? Like wait until this candle. If this candle closes above it, great. Say this candle closes, let's just do it. Let's just do it. All right, say this candle closes just above it, right? 95.6, okay? What you need to see is this next candle has to close above the close of that candle. So you would want to see this one close at like 95.8 or, obviously you would want a better move than that, but like 96.3. If that closes there, then you would wait for a retest of this. And if it bounces, right, that's when you're entering for that super, super awesome long that you're going to be targeting 100K first. You're going to be targeting 120 after that. You're going to be targeting 130 on that fib or 120 on the fib, 130 on this. Then you're going to be targeting 180 after that. So like, again, this isn't like super bearish sentiment. This is just like keeping it honest, keeping it consistent, keeping it real, looking what the charts are saying and telling you like how this could play out on different time frames. That's all it really comes down to. So as you can see, we're back testing this right now on the 1 hour. Again, this isn't confirmation until we see it happening on the daily chart, okay? So once we see it happen on the daily, that's where you got to give it some confluence. So give it until tomorrow to figure out what's going on. And then dude, we'll know if we're going back down to test like that top of that cup and handle or the top of that bull flag, or if we're just pulling back to 85, 81, whatever, which is where one of the value areas is. Or if we're going to just skyrocket to, 100K, blow through it, go to 110, 120, 130, right? So with that being said, hopefully that's helpful to everybody. And hopefully you kind of understand my bias. Again, my bias, I'll give it to you at the end of the video, even though I should have gave it to you at the front of the video. No one wants crypto to go up more than me. If you know what Wolfer Finance is, I promise you, we have millions of dollars in Ethereum, Avalanche, Flux, FTM. My company does very well And same thing for with my investors. They do very well if crypto goes up. So I don't want crypto to go down. I just want it to go up in the right manner, right? You can't just go parabolic forever without a massive crash. And guess what happens during those massive crashes? If Bitcoin shades like or fades 30%, alts are going to get smacked by 60. Okay. And alts aren't pumping yet like Bitcoin is. You're seeing everybody take their money from the alts and put it into Bitcoin. You're seeing everybody take their money that they could put into alts, their extra money, and they're putting it into Bitcoin right now. So give it its chance to do what it needs to do. And if you like content like this and you like analysis like this, make sure that you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Boom! Bang on that notification bell. Comment anything you want in the relevant sections. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for showing up to this video. I will see you in the next one. Peace.